Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. In this video, we're going to be looking at this thing here, which is the Positive Grid Spark 40. Now, the Spark 40 is a 40-watt desktop practice amp. It's got a couple of tricks up its sleeve as well. So it's got some AI technology in it where you can basically play in some chords and it will jam along with you. You can use it as a Bluetooth speaker, and you can also connect it to the internet and YouTube via your phone, via Bluetooth, and you can play along with backing tracks and do that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do today is just have a look at the initial sounds that are in the Spark 40, because literally I've just plugged it in and I've just tweaked a couple of sounds, and we're going to see if we think they're any good. Now, as in my usual style, I haven't read the manual, as I've got the attention span of a 4-year-old. So what I'm going to do is to navigate my way around the app here to see if we can come up with some good sounds. So let's click on the hardware button. Now, the hardware button here, basically from what I can tell, is emulating the 4 buttons on top of the amplifier. So the amp's got 4 different presets that you can choose between. Now, you can change all these presets, but these are the ones that are loaded up when it comes out of the factory. So let's click on clean and let's see how that sounds. Sounds really good. So, okay, so the amp's called Blackface Duo, so I'm guessing it's like a Fender Twin style amp. It's only got a few controls on it, but what I'd like to do here is to put some tremolo on, like you'd have on, say, like a Fender Twin. So the way we change the effects is by double clicking or double tapping on the effects at the top. And let's choose tremolo and make sure that's on. Let's see how that sounds. Now that sounds amazing. I think what tends to happen with these small amplifiers are the distortion sounds always sound great because they're not quite as detailed, or they haven't got to be quite as detailed as the clean sounds, but that sounds fantastic. So let's try amp number 2, which is Crunch. So we've got like an AC30 style amp here. And actually sounds really good. Okay, let's stick the tube drive before it. Now, initially, I don't like that, but let's turn up the tone and the overdrive a bit and see how that sounds. Okay, let's change that. Let's put a booster before it. That's a classic thing to do with an AC30 amp, is to stick a treble booster. Okay, I'm imagining this is going to be a clean boost, but let's see how it sounds. Sounds great, and actually behaves like an AC30 sort of sound would. Let's go to high gain. Now, that to me sounds nothing like a Plexi. So let's just double click on that. How do we change this? There we go. And let's try a different amp. Let's try the SLO 100. Now, an SLO 100 is a Soldano amp, a really expensive boutique Soldano amp that they've just started remaking again. Let's have a listen. Okay, so initial thoughts on this are, as in a classic thing with these small desktop style amps, there's always far too much bass. So Let's wind the bass all the way off and see what happens then. So even though the bass is all the way off, it's still quite bassy. Let's turn the treble up a bit. Sounds really good. Now, something that I've noticed with the reverb is you get like this almost out of phase reverb sound, and I'm guessing they've done that to increase the stereo width of the reverb as it's such a small amp. Now, it almost sounds like the reverb's coming from a different point in the room, which is a really interesting effect and creates a really nice sort of spatial effect around it. Let's go for the fourth sound, which is metal. Now this would be interesting. Now the classic thing again with these modeling amps and when they do presets is they they tend to use a Mesa Boogie rectifier style amp to as the metal sound. So I've got a Boogie rectifier, so we'll see how this sounds. Sounds sort of like one, but let's try something different. Okay, so Insane, I'm guessing that this is like a 5150 style amp. Sounds really good. Again, far too much bass. Let's take all the bass off. Let's hear that again. So much better. Okay, let's stick a bit of reverb on that and let's see how that sounds. Sounds great. And let's put a little bit of delay on it. Sounds really good. So, what do I think? I'm really impressed with it actually. I think for the size of it, it sounds amazing. And actually the quality of the amps that are in there are really good. So what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is I'm going to be doing some videos on how to program some sounds in this thing, because even though you can go on the internet and you can download a load of patches for this, I think sometimes it's nice and it's good to learn about how to create the sounds yourself. And it's also fun to create your own sort of sounds and to learn about how an amplifier works and how different effects react with each other. So I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. I really hope you guys got something out of that. Don't forget to like and subscribe and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.